Coming yours, first bring you some gameplay of the KF5 on the map Solar Planks of Domination first, and then we're going to move over to some free-for-all gameplay. And in this video, as you can tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about the KF5 weapon. When I first started playing Advanced Warfare, this is like the main weapon I used. I use this gun more than the BAL. I still sort of use it more than the BAL just because I like to use something different than the best gun in the game by far. So, BAL Is Life, yes, but the KF5 is pretty close behind. And after a while, you know, the game's been out for about 2.5 weeks now, and I'm starting to see why a lot of the people say that SMGs are underpowered. I mean, I've used a lot of the other SMGs, and I do have to say, I do have a lot of complaints with those SMGs too. The KF5 and the ASM-1 are, in my opinion, by far the best SMGs in this game, but I still feel like this gun needs a buff. So, starting out with the basic facts for this gun, there are no basic facts for this gun because the official facts are not out yet. What that means is I can only give you guys sort of a feel of this gun, and that feel is, I feel, more accurate than the actual statistics because it gives you a more accurate representation of how those statistics apply in game. So, damage of this weapon. This gun has actually a special feature in that the first 5 rounds in each magazine have more damage than the rest of the magazines. So basically, if you shoot that guy with all 5 bullets in the first 5 rounds of the magazine, you're pretty much guaranteed to get that kill. If you don't, then the damage isn't that great. So I would say this damage probably is like a 3 to 6 shot to kill, and with that damage multiplier that they have, so that would take that into consideration. So in close quarters engagements, you know, the damage is fine, it's not too bad, but I do feel like it could be a little bit better, especially compared to some ARs. What this gun really does lack compared to damage of other weapons is the sheer range of this gun. It's just terrible. Within 10, 15, 20 meters, you know, you're dealing almost your lowest damage possible, and what that means is hit markers after hit markers after hit markers will ensue, and that's just not good because there's some other guns in this game that just do damage so much nicer, and that also have a great hip fire and fire rate. And specifically, if you haven't been able to tell, I'm talking about the BAL is life, baby. So I do feel like this gun is severely underpowered in that aspect to the BAL, but moving along, you can see the fire rate in this gun. It's alright. It's about 750 RPM to 800 RPM, I would say, which is, in this game, it is pretty fast, but compared to all the Call of Duties in history, it's kind of average. So I do think that the guns in Advanced Warfare generally just shoot slower than they have before. So that means that this one, it's not that bad as some other games it would be, but still it's nothing too impressive. As for the recoil, it's sort of on the verge of manageable and a little bit uncontrollable. I don't want to say full out uncontrollable, because if you really had to do it, I'm sure you could pull off, you know, managing this weapon nicely. But I do feel like it's not the best in the world, and I do feel like because the KF5 does not suit just the close quarters engagement role, I feel like it could also pretty well handle the middle range role, provided you take necessary precautions such as being in the right situations, being in the right movements, you know, outclassing your enemy with some extra movements and stuff like that. I do feel like it could be better at range. So as you can tell here, the iron sights of this gun that you can see right now on the screen, they're not bad. I do think that they are one of the better iron sights in this game, especially compared to the rest of the SMGs. I think by far they're the best SMG iron sights in the game. I may be mistaken, but I do think this is true. However, I do feel like under that recoil, the iron sights are directly on the verge of being manageable, and you should probably use a red dot sight. But that being said, I've used this gun for a long time, as I've said, and I just don't feel like the red dot sight is that useful in this gun compared to some other attachments. So I would probably just get used to the iron sights. Yes, I know they're not that great compared to some of the red dot sights and even like the BAL's iron sights. So they're manageable, but if you absolutely have to, then yeah, I guess you could go with the red dot sight and you would still turn out okay in most gunfights. As for the reload speed of this gun, it's not bad. It's pretty fast. If you do the speed reload on this gun, I feel like there is a significant improvement there compared to some other weapons. So I do feel like if you do have the capability to speed reload and drop your magazine, that I do recommend you do that. and the magazine itself is 40 rounds with 120 rounds in reserve, so scavenger is not necessary at all, because I feel this gun just has a lot of ammunition. So that, trust me on this, guys, you won't need scavenger for this gun. I've never needed it for this gun. Worst case scenario, pick up another SMG you find laying around and just wreck house for that too. And that's what I do have to say about the basic gun. And now I'm going to go over my recommended class setup. So my recommended class setup for you guys is going to be the foregrip and stock. Foregrip, again, is going to greatly reduce that recoil. And you saw me using the suppressor earlier in this video, and I used to love the suppressor on this gun, but after taking it out and swapping it out for stock, I really do feel like the stock is a better option, because the KF5 is ultimately needs better accuracy, because that reload time, that recoil is not that great, that damage is not that great, but the fire rate is alright. So basically, if you can get all those shots on target, you're gonna have a great time. And basically, this class is trying to make you guys flank your enemy, get really good movements, and basically just take your enemy out as fast as possible. So moving on to the perks, we have lightweight and low profile. So low profile makes it that the enemies cannot spot your UAV. And you might say, if you have low profile, why don't you have suppressor on? I feel like because you're shooting, and that basically you have a sort of subconscious knowledge of that when you're shooting, you're going to be on the minimap, that you can sort of adjust for that. Whereas if you don't have low profile, that means no matter what happens, you're going to be spotted on the minimap, and that's just not good for the kind of engagements that this gun is going to prepare you for, meaning that other people can camp while you can't. So basically, yeah. And lightweight, of course, is for the movement aspect for it. I generally like to run peripherals on all my classes. If I do choose to run a secondary perk slot, I just feel like it's one of the better ones. I also use blast suppressor. That's a no-brainer. And toughness is also pretty good, but if you wanted, you could also use hardline. I could see that running pretty well, or hardwired itself. Maybe if you could pull off scavenger, and I just don't feel like scavenger is that useful. Like I said before, if you really had to use it, if you really want to be liberal with your shot placement, then by all means go for it, but I just don't feel like it's necessary. Exo ability, I like to use Exo Overclock for my Exo ability, and as for my score streaks, I like to use UAV and Missile Strike, but of course you can swap out the Missile Strike for something else. I really do recommend you keep that UAV though, because UAV really does complement this playstyle absolutely fantastically. So in this last part of this video, I just wanted to show you guys how the KF5 class looks, and you can see here it's gonna be like this. And I'm just going to start out with a basic sort of no attachments, no perks, just KF5 slot, so I can show you guys the differences between the recoil patterns. So I'm going to be going into the firing range here, picking on this one target. Let's move them about, how is he, 15 meters? The longest sort of engagements, let's go 25 meters, so just so I can, let's go 20 meters. 20 meters looks okay. So I'm going to start right at that red dot. You can see here the recoil is absolutely just so much. Most likely you're going to be shooting like that. Let's say you're moving around a little bit. So you can see the recoil still while you're moving around a little bit, while you're trying to control it. It's still not perfect here, and again I'll show you guys uncontrolled fire, no movement, stuff like that. You can see it's still pretty large. I'm going to bring it up close. Yeah, so look at, like, from here on up, you saw it clearly got like over there. It's not bad. It's just for an SMG, that values range over close range encounters because of that, better range over other SMGs that generally lower recoil. Even though I do think it is a lot of recoil, I do think it is still less recoil than most other SMGs. I do feel like it's better for range using the class that I showed you and that I made for you guys. Let's try this again. Let's move it to 20 meters. Again, no nothing really special. I'm not controlling the recoil any way at all. You saw the foregrip made a massive difference there. I got a 98% accuracy this time, and I landed 39 shots. So you can see this thing is much better. For this class combination is much better for what you're suited for, and I just don't feel like I'm gonna try to control the recoil here. Controlling the recoil, you can see I can get still a 99% accuracy aiming for there. If I start aiming for just the head and I don't add any sort of control of the recoil, I will be able to melt him. So I do think that this is a fantastic combination, and yeah, if you guys liked it, be sure to use it in your own classes in your own Advanced Warfare sort of setup. Again, if you want to swap something out, I would suggest that the two biggest things that if you want to swap something out, maybe you can swap toughness out for hardline if you want to get your score streaks earlier. You can completely remove this slot entirely and maybe equip another attachment. I feel like if you really want to equip another attachment, some of the best ones I would recommend are maybe the parabolic microphone, suppressor, quick draw, or laser. Maybe the red dot if you absolutely cannot stand the iron sights, but I feel like, let's say I go laser right there, I go quick draw. This is going to be a fantastic class setup. You can swap out Missile Strike for Warbird or Paladin if you're feeling lucky. Swap out Exo ability. I really feel like don't mess with Overclock. Overclock will be a fantastic perk overall. Swap out Low Profile for Flak Jacket and Objective base game modes. And basically, here's your class setup. So if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe if you have not done so already. Please check out my other videos on Scream if you haven't seen them yet as well. And I hope you guys like this stuff. I'll definitely be doing more videos like this, and I will definitely try to make them a little bit shorter. This is just sort of a test video. So anyway, thank you all for watching my video, and I will hopefully catch you all in my next video. Peace out, guys.